This is just something I'm doing for myself. Steve Zaragoza, Owen Carpenter, and Brett Register are doing this podcast called It's Like First Time, where they're rewatching Lost. Brett Register's the first time watching Lost, and the other two are rewatching it. They take 2 episodes a week, and they talk about it on their podcast. This particular week, we're looking at the Solitary, and we're looking at Raised by Another. Solitary, Saeed in the previous episode tortured Sawyer and left the island, left the encampment to go wander on his own on a hiatus to find himself. He finds himself sitting on the beach somewhere, and what I really love is that there is this random rope just on the surface that no one else has noticed. Isn't that kind of like a safety hazard? I mean, to have this rope laying around that someone could trip on. A safety inspector should really look at that. One of the first things I think about when I see this rope is
wherever I go, he goes, my buddy, I'll teach him everything that I know,
like those old 80s toys that have the pull string and it talks. Kind of makes me think of that for some reason. But instead of making the island talk much like one of those old toys back in the 80s, it leads him just haphazardly to the French woman that's been there for 16 years and left that repeating signal over and over. That aside, that part was fun and all, but I found it more interesting was the golf story that everyone's frazzled and Hurley finds this open clearing where they start playing golf, and I think that just does a lot to like you keep saying, humanize the characters, and every once in a while you have to goof off. And just out of the blue, people start playing golf, and it does a lot to lighten up this particular really dark episode where Saeed is tortured and gets basically the treatment that he gave to Sawyer back at him. Kind of like karma. Karma's a bitch and all that. Personally, I'm more of a mini golf kind of person rather than a long range normal golf. It's just a lot more fun for me, mini golf, personally. But that's me. Raised by Another is largely a Claire backstory episode about how she gets pregnant, how she's dealing with that particular pregnancy, and we get a little bit more on the mystery of the island with the finding that one of the people over there is not part of the initial crew. But I'm not so much interested in that as in the beginning of the episode, they're still playing golf. Jack hits a putter and sinks one. We have Shannon and what's his name, her brother, betting against Jack to get some stuff, and a bunch of people are taking bets, and we don't get to see whether or not Jack actually makes the sinker or not, or if he misses it. I need to know if Jack actually made it or not. That's not fair to leave us hanging on that. I mean, damn you for not showing us whether Jack makes it or not. That's my particular thoughts on these two particular episodes. We'll tune in next time to find out what I think of the next couple episodes.